Yeah, I drink it slowly while I stare at everyone
Sure.
else.
It's actually quite tasty. It's like bubblegum and lemonade all rolled into one.
Yeah, I stare menacingly at everyone while I'm drinking it.
Okay, nobody seems to notice you. They're all engrossed in their own conversations.
No, I just stare at them that look at me at the moment. So yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to do, or you're just kicking
No,
back?
yeah. Back
All right. Then Aquila, where did you leave off at?
I was waiting at the Stout Orphan, trying to meet up with the leader of the Watchers.
Toronto, right? Okay.
Yeah.
After a while, you see Zug Nash come in. He just gotten off his horse outside and tied him up to the pole there. And he walks in with a bunch of little kids grabbing onto his leg. They're like, Zug Nash, Zug Nash. And it's one of those things where like they grab onto it and like step on its feet, so like he has to drag them all with him. And he kind of chuckles as he walks in the room, like pretending like he's irritated by it all, but he's not. And he orders some drinks and sits down at a table there.
All right, are the kids still with him?
Yeah, they're all playing around with him and stuff. And like,
All right, I'm gonna kneel next to one. One that I know, one that I assume I would know the name of.
okay,
And I greet him and I say, "Oh, look what you got behind your ear." I'm gonna do a sleight of hand trick. I'm gonna do a sleight of hand check to pull a coin from behind his ear.
okay. Man, kids, of course.
Great, I roll a 20 on that.
They're like, oh, people like they're clapping, and he's like, oh, that was in my ear.
Yes, it was. Now what? Now why don't you keep on? Now why don't you hold on to it for a while?
They're like, oh, thanks. I want. And then this other girl's like, is there one in my ear? And she like runs up and she's like, look, is there one?
I may as well try it again.
You'll ruin the magic.
She's like, oh my gosh, there is one. Did you see that, Zach Nash? It's magic.
I can only use magic so often, kids. Now why don't you run along?
It's like Nash kind of looks at her and he says, yeah, maybe you should wash behind your ears more often, huh? It's like, Zach Nash. And they go tottering off. They're all excited, and you hear one of them say, let's go to the candy store, and they all rush off out the door. And he sits back. He's like, I love agate.
It has its perks, I suppose.
He looks at you and says, so what have you been up to lately?
Rough day today. I joined up with those adventurers from before to explore some Sutar mausoleum.
He looks at you, looks around, and he's like, you shouldn't be doing that.
Look, I couldn't help it. Sutar, you know how fascinated I am by them. It was the opportunity of a lifetime.
It's like, don't let the guards hear you say that. That is the Royal Crypt, and you could land yourself in prison for a very long time.
I understand that, but I couldn't help it.
It's like, well, I'm not hearing this.
Right, of course you're not. You never hear anything. Anyway, we may have another problem.
He's like, we? I don't understand.
I may have a problem.
What is... Do I want to know what your problem is?
It might pertain to you.
He's like, very well.
Well, I suppose it's not a good idea to talk to the paladin about it, is it?
It might not be.
I suppose that was more for his girlfriend.
Okay.
It's more a problem. It's more of a problem for her girlfriend anyway.
He's like, Veranda. He's like, she should be here later on. Actually, I'm expecting her within the next hour here.
Oh, good. In the meantime, have a drink with me.
He's like, I'm already halfway there. He takes a large drink out of his jeweled mug that he keeps conveniently chained to his side. And
You paladins of Caden.
he's like, if you're going to be a paladin of Caden Kalian. That's what I always say. Like, and yeah, he pushes over one of the shots that he got at the bar toward you.
I down it.
Make a fortitude save.
Nope. Damn.
You feel lightheaded, like you feel kind of buzzed, but
Ooh.
other than that, like you're like, holy crap, that was strong. Like you kind of cough a little bit.
Okay, I think that's enough for me.
He kind of chuckles and he's like, yeah, you got to work up to those things.
Thanks for that warning, you dick.
He just kind of smiles and takes a shot of it himself, and doesn't look like anything happens to him. And then he stands up and starts singing a bar song, and people join in. Eventually, you see Ferranda walk in, and she runs over to him and jumps on him, and gives him a hug and everything. And they finish singing the song, and then they all sit down at the table again. And he's actually, I think I'm going to go drink with Father Flanagan for a while. And he stands up and he walks over to the bar and orders some more drinks.
Now that our selective listener is gone, there's something I need to talk to you about.
And she's like, what is it?
The catfolk in the mercenary guild, you remember?
Yes, of course.
He said something that gave me some pause. He somehow knew I was in the Watchers.
Well, she's like, it doesn't take a lot to put two and two together when you hear the stout orphan. He's like, I'm sure people's tongues wag. She's like, he may not know for sure. I mean, lots of people come here. He might just be guessing.
No, I don't think so. He knew. And then he tried to cover his tracks about it. Yesterday I saw him talking to Arkwolf. I'm very suspicious about that.
You think he may be talking to Arkwolf?
I saw him talking to Arkwolf.
Ah, yes, the other day. Well, you know how the paladins are very suspicious. She's like, in any have you managed to avoid doing anything suspicious lately?
Against my judgment, I joined them in exploring a sweetheart tomb.
She just kind of holds up a hand, and she's like, they would never believe somebody as inept as you would be a part of the Watchers, so I think we're okay there. She just kind of shakes her head and like face palms, but she's like, in any case.
Look, I couldn't help it. You know how fascinating they are.
Yes, and that's why you are not a full member of the Watchers yet. So curiosity always gets you in trouble, you cats.
Yeah, very funny.
She's like, but aside from all that, we are continuing our investigation, and my partner has found out that there are certain government officials that have been acting suspiciously lately. Especially one in particular. He did not name names, but apparently he's a new arrival to Agate and wields a larger amount of power than he should on the council. We suspect that they have something to do with the kidnappings in the mine, because we have seen him talking to the foreman and one of the gnome shareholders in the mine quite often. The investigation is still continuing, but we may have a job for you to do very soon.
I'm more than happy to take it.
She's like, excellent. I think probably in 2 days' time is when my next contact with him is, and he should have something more concrete by then.
Right, of course. Just contact me when you have more information.
He's like, of course. She's like, meet me here in 2 days, and we should know much more by then. She's like, in the meantime, stick close to this other cat of yours. Don't be so don't be so nervous. Just kind of play it smooth. You don't want to arouse suspicions.
Well, you know me. My nerves are what keep me alive.
So, if that's all that we need here, I will see you in a couple days. And
See you in a couple of days.
she taps you on the head and she walks over to Zug Nash and hugging and things like that. Alright, so back to Isaac. Walking to the library, I guess.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Are you walking to the library?
Yes.
Okay.
Volume one.
So it's like this large glass building. It looks like the largest collection of books you've ever fucking seen in your life. Like it looks to you like it's bigger than the entire town of Fairfield. So you walk in and you see like a large central desk. The library is 3 stories tall, and there's shelves all up the different floors with a central opening, kind of that's open to like a large like skylight almost with stained glass at the top. And directly underneath it is a circular desk with several librarians. You notice that there's one Bastet and several other humans working there.
The first thing I do is try to find a seat at some table somewhere and kind of take out the jade figurine and kind of figure out how it works. Like, does it have a range? Does it have an activation thing? So on and so forth. Do you need me to roll a certain knowledge or?
Roll knowledge. I'll say knowledge arcana. You look at it, and there's nothing particularly interesting about the statue itself, but from what Arkwolf was saying, it's likely had some kind of a listening spell placed on it, and that spell has been cloaked with other magics to be undetectable. Usually that's how these kind of things work.
Based on that knowledge check about, like, let's say listening spells, do I know it has a range, and is it always listening?
You're not sure. You know it must. You know that probably things like this are some sort of scrying. You're not
okay.
sure about the ranges might vary and things like that.
All right. In that case, since I am skeptical about this figurine thing, while I'm in the library anyway, I'll look up whatever it was that Willa wanted me to look up. Now, just so that you know, you gave me that information last time we came on, but I'm not sure how that played out with my character, because I think that's something you just kind of tacked on. I don't.
Yeah, because everybody else is gone. So basically,
okay.
Basically, you knew the old adventurers that you traveled up with, because you know all from small towns. You know that they found like a little orb from the new girl, and you saw that they took it to Willa, and you walked in afterwards, and you asked Willa what it was about. She showed you downstairs the book and how they worship this ancient sun demon and all that sort of thing. And then she said that there was more information in the city of Agate about the ancient core, especially if you wanted to know more about the goblins attacking things and things of that nature. So she said that the city of Agate used to be is an ancient city, like it dates way back to the days of the core. And that they have a large library and a monastery. That the monastery is one of the remaining buildings that dates all the way back there as well.
Okay. And so I have a necklace from a little girl or something like that?
Yeah, I'll say you do because it's the other person's gone too. So it's you don't have the necklace, but you do have a fragment of something on a chain. And actually, let me pull that up.
While you pull that up, just to reaffirm, like, the reason I'm looking this up is to see why this village was getting attacked by goblins and stuff like that.
Yeah, basically what happened was the village was attacked by goblins, which nobody has seen in generations, and
okay.
The party followed them after the little girl was attacked and her necklace was stolen. After the festival, they followed her to a cave that had some kind of strange ruins in it, west of the city. They came back talking about that they saw like goblins and strange altars and things, and It looked to be a temple of that sun demon god that the Thor worshipped or whatever. And they returned the orb, and they said there was a goblin army of some sort heading north or whatever. And during your journeys, after people were killed or left, like you ended up in possession of this copper pendant that somebody found in the city of Late Mist in some abandoned mines. And the copper pendant is in your journal. It's on a chain and it looks like that. And Willa pulled out a picture in her books as she was showing you the books about the core. And you seem to think that it resembled the picture in the sketchbook that she showed you. And that sketchbook picture is also in your journal.
Okay.
And that would be the sun symbol of the demon god of the core. And I think, did you have the dream of the Shrine of Jesna? Had you already joined us by then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Had I known the demon was a sun demon, I would have ran away from the sun figure.
Well, of course, now when they were in the temple, the general consensus was that he probably wasn't at all, because history was written by the victors, and the Sutar are the ones that conquered the core, and they wrote the books that said it was a sun demon and they sacrificed their children. And they also mentioned that in the temple they had seen figures of paladins and healing things, and it was very odd that it was being all destroyed or just defaced by these goblins.
Okay. Alright, then I'll look up any information I can related to the goblins and the sun demon and so on and so forth.
So you go up to the librarians because you're not really sure how this thing works. They tell you that. So you're asking them for information about goblins and sun demons, or what specifically?
Alright, I'll play this out. Who's at the front desk?
You see several humans and one Bastet. They look like they're all librarians.
Bastet, is that female, male?
Female.
Right. Hey there, and I start to lower my voice as I approach, trying to be quiet.
Mm-hmm. And she purrs, and she looks at you and says, How may Rija help you?
Yeah, just to be honest, I came up here to you because you were the finest looking one of the bunch, and now that I have a closer look, I know I made the right choice. So, I'm trying to find out what I can about, the people that this city was built on, their religion, so to speak, but more importantly, any mention of them, of goblins that may have worshipped them, or anything of the like, anything that may bring down their judgment upon the land. All that doom and gloom. I'm trying to put something together that's rather entertaining. I'm a playwright.
And she thinks about it. And she walks over and asks a few other librarians, and she's like, as far as goblin deities, she's like, they worship me. She's like, I can take you to find some of those books. As far as the people here, the Sutar, we have several history books about them. Follow me, I can help. I can take you to some of the things that we have here.
Sure. Who's watching TV loudly? Because I can hear it. It's whispering in the background.
Not me.
So she takes you and she pulls out a couple books about goblins and about gods that goblins worship. And she looks around for some other things, and she kind of shakes her head and she's like, She's like,
yes.
Aiden evidently checked out several of these as well. They're very popular, these strips, for some reason. She's like, but there is one left. And,
I'm having a hard time hearing you, just so you know.
She tells you these books have been rather popular lately in the past several weeks. She's like, Faden actually borrowed a few himself. But we do have one left that talks about the history of the city. So here,
Do you have a... May I know who borrowed these books?
she's like, I don't remember the name. Several government officials, and the last one was Thaden, the magistrate's son.
Interesting.
Yes, but he brought this one back, and it should be in your journal under Annals of the Kings.
I'm sorry, I must interrupt. Who is watching TV in the background?
Yeah, it got louder, didn't it?
It hasn't stopped. That's all I know. So.
Yeah, it's not me. I'm muted.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
All right, so yeah, she hands you that book. It's called Annals of the Kings, and along with several other goblin deity books. And she tells you that that the monastery actually dates back to that time, and she says they don't have much about the core. Most of that was destroyed when the city was taken, but she has heard that there are artifacts that the monks in the monastery keep that might be of interest if you are interested in that sort of thing.
I most certainly am. Do you have any books on subterranean structures?
Subterranean structures. You mean like caves or mines or...
I guess caves is a good one. Underground temples. You know.
I can't think of anything that would be, but... She's like...
I'm trying to add a scene of someone trying to go in somewhere and they find like this vast series of catacombs. I'm trying to make it as realistic as possible, as you might imagine.
She's like, well, there are several stories from out of the Glass Emirate about the pyramids there. She's like, I could show you some of those. And she walks to a bookshelf and she pulls some down, and she's like, there's some silly rumor. She's like, of course, that there's some kind of artifact or something related to yarn here in the city. She's like, but I wouldn't know where that would be. She's like, it's just one of those silly stories. She's like, and you know that yarn is the deity slash like religion slash way of life that cats follow, basically. A lot of them do. Some believe it more dogmatically than others. Some think it's an actual deity. Some think it's just a way of life called yarn. But all catfolk are familiar with it, and she says supposedly there's some kind of interesting thing about yarn that's hidden in the city, but you know, people will say things like that about many things, but she's just heard that. And she hands you the book about the pyramids in the Glass Emirate.
What is the Glass Emirate?
The Glass Emirate is the land north of Bulwark. It's far to the deserts towards the north, and it's a large area ruled by the sultans. There's lots of bands of roving catfolks. It's the seat of the ancient catfolk civilization. Now it's like a land of catfolk and gnolls and humans, and she tells you that there's been border skirmishes between the Glass Emirate, an ancient empire, and the city of Bulwark for years now.
All right. I will read that also.
Okay.
In the meantime, after I'm done with all that,
And she says,
I'll just return to the party.
She says, oh, and by the way, if you're interested, there's actually... She's like, are you at all interested in yarn?
Yarn, the ball of yarn, or yarn, the religious symbol yarn?
She's like, yarn, the religion, of course.
Yes, I'm definitely interested.
She's like, well, I have 2 books about yarn. She's like, I've actually been reading them lately, and I find them fascinating, and I think maybe you might too. And she goes back to the librarian desk, and she pulls out one book, and one book is like a child's picture book, basically, but when you open it up, it like opens up in different cat's cradle yarn positions, and like you see the setting sun and the orb of all, and she like shows you that she can do it too, and she pulls out her ball of yarn and she does them, and she opens the book, and she seems rather like delighted about it, and she like kind of purrs as she's looking through the book, but she hands it to you. And then she says, and this is another interesting book. It's a book of ciphers. She's like, as you know, the ancient Bastet used to write in ciphers. And not only was it in the ancient language of the Bastet, but you had to be able to translate the ciphers, and you see it's like a puzzle. And she seems very interested in the puzzle, and it shows like different codes and ciphers that the Bastet use to write things. And she says, "This is also very fascinating. I've been looking at it as well."
I will take them both.
Okay. And she's like, "Remember, you have 3 weeks, and then we must have them back."
I will put that on my calendar.
She smiles at you, and she says,
Oh, and once I'm done reading, if you aren't seeing anyone, maybe we can talk about these books over at dinner.
she's like, "Oh, I thought you would never ask."
Great. In that case, I will see you, and maybe sooner than later.
And she purrs and seems embarrassed that she's unable to contain the purring.
All right. I'll make my way back to the party.
Okay. So you head back to the Pirate in the Gin, where you see Alistair and Ciros at the bar. It's kind of late. It's about 5 p.m. or so.
Oh, hi.
How do you like my new duds, guys? Huh?
Looking pretty fine.
Yeah, that's what she said. Anyway, I'm feeling... What's that word? Magnanimous?
What is Isaac wearing?
He's pretty spiffed up. He's got like some dark slacks and this spiffy little purple vest and a nice silk shirt and a hat with several feathers on it.
I really want to drench him. But
You realize I will kill you.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm not doing it.
I'm a little tipsy, so I go up and bat one of the feathers.
Alright, guys. I can't hold myself back when I see yarn either, but back off. Now, where are we again? We're not at the Stout Orphan, we're somewhere else?
Yeah, you're at the Pirate in the Gin.
Pirate in the Gin.
Okay, Pirate in the Gin. Alright, maybe in a couple of days we'll be able to launch another mission into those tombs, but I hear there's a pressing matter about something going on in a set of mines, kidnapping, some ludicrous stuff. Would you guys be interested at all?
We can look into it.
Yes. What is it?
I hear
A few days
it'll
of
pay
not
very
going
well
that
if
far.
we find good stuff.
Well,
Cool.
And it's a set of mines. We should probably get some mining pigs. We could probably take some ore. That'd be awesome.
A hat with a candle on it.
so
And you...
just
Mhm.
he didn't want you to plant the thing in the mines. He wanted you to find the Watchers and give it to them somehow.
Oh no, I know completely what he wants. I'm just not doing it right now.
All right. Guess then if we're doing with the whole mine thing. I thought you might have misunderstood.
No.
Okay.
Hey, Doc, what is the address of the Chinese restaurant?
It doesn't have an address. It's just down in the lower city of the slum side.
But it
You
must
see
have
it's
like an address or something like that. A street name and a street number and
It's-
stuff.
Its address is called the Yipping Puppy. Everybody knows it.
You think puppy.
It's north of the Farmer's Gate.
Do I know some street names in this city?
The street that goes from the Farmer's Gate straight up to the government district is called High Street.
So do I know any other back streets or something like that?
You have never been in this city before in your life.
I mean, have I seen any like names
Street
on
signs?
roads that split off the main road?
There's thousands of roads that spread off on the main road. I'm
Yep.
sure you may have
Yeah.
seen several of them, but
Okay, Isaac, can you do me a favor?
Yes. What's your favor?
And I pull out the ball of yarn. I will give you this, and I like dangle it around. If you do me a favor.
I don't know whether to be insulted or entertained.
I bat at the ball of yarn.
when he bats at it, you suddenly feel jealous, like you want to bat at it as well, but you don't.
Depending on what I'm about to roll a will save, just for my own amusement, and depending on what I roll, I'll either do him a favor or I won't.
Okay.
Okay, I resist.
So just
I
say
needed
no.
to beat a 15.
Okay, put it back in my backpack.
Alright, anyway. I'm going